Dude, I don't know if you've explained.
I never have.
Recently.
Yeah, I never have.
Explain what you and the wifey do, man.
Well, as you know, we've been taking Aiden to Disney since he was, I think we started when he was 2.
When he was in Sam's belly.
And he's now, yeah, pretty much. And he's now 7. We go, we have annuals. We go 5-6 times a year. We have been up until obviously this year. We can't do that.
Right.
We have been to Universal Islands once with him as he got a little bit older now, so he loves that. But Disney was a good start for that. So we go all the time. Yeah, we make custom, which I know you've seen some of it. We make custom Disney ears. We're starting to do other stuff too, but that have to do Disney theme. But we do custom Disney ears that are inspired.
Right.
And obviously when the parks closed, the first month, that kind of there was nothing going on, which was fine because I needed a break because we were, especially over the holidays, man, it was like nonstop. Christmas orders and things like that. And then, I don't know, once there was a talk about the parks opening in a couple months and stuff, things kind of picked right back up and it just hasn't stopped. So on weekends, a lot of times it's catching up on orders and stuff like that. And it hasn't really stopped because even when we aren't having sales, I have to be designing in between. You constantly have to keep coming out with new stuff. It doesn't stop. So
can't let it get dry.
Yeah. So you always have stuff in the pipeline.
Right.
So it's kind of like it just doesn't stop. And then you come up with new types of things. So if it's not just ears, it could be something like the pop sockets. I've done those now, where you can actually attach them to the back of phones. That's like a big thing. What was the other one? These little. For a long time, actually, when the pandemic started, we actually stopped making ears for a bit and started making the mask extenders for the the COVID masks, the medical masks.
Remember.
Yeah, so they don't go around the ears; they go around the back of your neck. So we started doing that.
So you won't look like me when I put them on. Then my ears are like that.
There you go. Mine does the same thing.
Yeah.
And we were doing it really. We weren't making money off it. We were literally almost giving them away, and it was only for first responders, nurses, and we're still getting people now that message us and say, hey, they're not on the shop right now. Do you guys still? Do you still make them?
Right.
And we're like, it depends on the situation, yes. So we just had a mom had reached out to us. She wants them for the entire class for her kids to go back. She wants like 40. So,
jeez.
Which is fine. I mean, we've made hundreds of them. So it's not a big deal, but it just depends on what's going on and what we do. So yeah, so the business keeps me busy on the side.
And you guys just had an anniversary date with the business, right?
2 years.
There you
which
go.
is insane.
How time flies, huh?
Which is insane.
And what's the business name?
JSA Cr3Dtions.
There you go.
Yeah, and which stands for Joey, Samantha, Aiden.
Right.
And then Creations is spelled with a 3D instead of EA.
Okay.
It's not hard. If you just do JSA, if you even do a search on Pinterest, we're one of the first ones that pop up.
And you guys can be found on Pinterest, on Instagram.
Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. Although we don't really. It's connected with the Instagram is connected with our Facebook. Oh, and our Etsy account, which is our main shop. It's on Etsy. So we're one of the,
And how do people find you on Etsy?
Same thing. Just do a search. If you do even a search for 3D printed ears or anything like that, generally we're going to be one of the ones that comes up.
And you do all this at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
After your 10-hour shift.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Until during the week, and we've talked about this. I'm up till 12, 1 o'clock every morning, every night. 1 a.m., 1 a.m., 1 a.m. back up at you know how it goes. It's just listen, just like obviously in our job, we do details. I hate details.
Off-duty.
But again, I would our off-duty details. I would much rather work for myself at home. I'll put the hours in, but at least I get to do it from home.
Yeah.
I'm not humping outside. I'm not out late and stuff like that.
And because you live so far away from
exactly
the city.
The drive for me is easy. Obviously, you being so close, you can hop in and out. It's easy, and I get it. There's pros and cons to that. So that's the way it works. But yeah, man, and it's crazy how the whole thing started originally, and I can't believe we got into this that this even came up. But yeah, it was crazy. It wasn't like we started out, hey, let's come up with a business. It wasn't like that. We were going on a trip. She used to order custom ears off Etsy because you can order a bunch of stuff off there. A lot of custom stuff, handmade stuff. There was one shop that she got ears from, and every time we were going to go on a trip, she would get specific ones, whether it's Star Wars or if it's Toy Story, whatever it was we were doing.
Right.
And the problem was that the wait time from this girl ended up being sometimes like 2 months. So my wife knew I got to order these well in advance. So she's, you know, very organized. So she would order these things 2 months in advance. And right before we went on a trip, just to make a long story short, right before going on a trip, we realized these ones that she ordered months in advance weren't coming in time. We were like 3 days away from leaving, and the shop owner happened to be in the middle of a move to California. It just wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So I said, you know what? And you know me, I'm a tinkerer. I've been doing 3D printing for a couple of years before this already. Knew nothing about 3D modeling, but I've been in computers for 20 years. I can figure stuff out. So I said, I'm going to reverse engineer. I'll figure something out. Locked myself in the room for like a weekend, Saturday and a Sunday. Kind of took a couple models that I had seen on like Thingiverse, which is a site you can actually download models from.
Right.
And I kind of reverse engineered it to make my first rudimentary kind of crude 3D ear, which came out pretty good, but it was just basic, super basic. I could do it in my eyes closed now, but we did that, put them together. They were super heavy, but they were 3D ears. They worked. We went, and Aiden will continue to remind her now that she lost her first pair on one of the rides. And every time we walk past this ride, years later, he'll still say, Mom, remember when you dropped yours?
Nice.
Yeah, so anyway, when we were there, people were asking us, hey, where did you get those? Oh, we made them. Oh, do you have like a, you know, you have an Etsy account? Do you have an Instagram? No, we just made them.
Nice.
So when we got back, we're like, you know, and that's how it kind of started. And here we are 2 years later. It blows me away.
How many followers you have now?
I think on Instagram we're like at 3,000, which is actually moderate compared to some of the other shops we're really close with.
You guys are doing very well. And still able to spend time with the family and stuff like that. You guys
listen.
It's all time management, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I remember when you started, I said, name your price, and if it gets more than that, cut it, because you can't. You got to have that time, man. Yeah. You can't go backwards with time with the kiddos, man.
Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, I can't believe, because I'm like, we'll sell a couple a month, whatever. Yeah. In the beginning, that's how it was, because nobody knew us. Now there's times where we get swamped. And I'm like, and there's other shops. Listen, we're just doing it on the side. There's shops that this is what they do for a living, and they're massive, massive, bro. They have thousands of sales per month. Mm-hmm. They're moving in these massive houses. It's crazy. So, and I know people always ask the same thing. Hey, just before you even, and then we'll be done with it. What about Disney? Does Disney, you know, as far as the copywriting and all that stuff, if you're not directly putting Mickey's face with that says Mickey Mouse on it and all that stuff, which some people do, generally they're not gonna mess with you. If everything's inspired, you know what I'm saying? Then you should be okay.
That's a good point. And sometimes people overlook all that. Right,
and quite honestly, Disney kind of embraces it, because there's literally thousands of shops doing this. All kinds of things, from pendants and I mean all kinds of stuff. There's ones that have custom which I know you don't even know what the hell what a Magic Band is, but there's ones custom where it actually you'll slide onto your Apple Watch or
Fast
your
Pass.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's call it a Fast Pass.
The old Fast Pass days of receipts that died like
no more.
Okay. Way.
Listen, my baby's 12. Yeah. It's been a while since
I know.
I went to.
So anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of people that do it, and there have been shops that we know that have got a cease and desist from them. So we're like, we start going through the shop again. Okay, this could be, take that off. Like just a couple things that maybe, you know, they're not going to give you a hard. But the thing is, think about it. It drives business to the parks. Yeah. Because people want to buy stuff and then go there. And then Disney's smart in that they look at what's selling and then they tailor their own stuff to look like our stuff, basically. So their ears don't look like. I mean, they still sell the old. Remember the old school, old school ball cap with it. Yeah. You can get those, but the ears now look like ours. They got LEDs in them and all kinds of stuff where it's So they're not stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your weekend